Hi, my name's Kelly Clement, and I'm the president here at MetaStock. Today, I am so excited to introduce you to MetaStock 19. MetaStock 19 is one of our best upgrades to date. It is so full of new features and new ways of doing things that you are absolutely just going to love it. There are a lot of things that we have to cover in this video, so let's go ahead, jump right in, and show you all these awesome new features. Now, before I get to do that though, I do have to show you and I do have to read you a quick disclaimer. We'll go through this really quickly and jump right to it. So this demonstration is designed to instruct you on using MetaStock and accompanying software plugins and is not a recommendation to buy or sell, but rather guidelines to interpreting and using the specific indicators and features within the software. The information, software, and techniques presented today should only be used by investors who are aware of the risk inherent in trading. MetaStock and its employees shall have no liability for any investment decisions based on the use of their software, any trading strategies, or any information provided in connection with the company. MetaStock and its employees do not endorse the purchase of any security, nor is it paid for the promotion of any security. No information contained in this presentation should be construed as an investment advice or a solicitation to buy any security. Okay, so there's our disclaimer. Let's jump into the good stuff. So here's what we're starting with. So this is just a very high-level overview of everything in MetaStock 19. There is actually a lot that we're going to go through in a lot of detail. So let's go ahead and take you through it. The first thing is theme support. And theme support is awesome. We get asked for this a lot, and that's the ability to switch MetaStock into a dark mode or a light mode. So it's all been redone, so you can now switch between a light and a dark mode, and I'll show you that here in just a second. We're going to talk about some new and improved charting workflows. We've added in some ways where you can actually now do your charts like a browser, where you can actually do tab charts and actually switch between them. We've also got new layout workflows. Well, what's a layout? A layout is a group of charts, and I'll show you how these groups of charts can actually be divided and put into different views and different screens that will make your life easy to be able to access things very, very quickly. The whole container in MetaStock, which means everything in MetaStock, just about has been updated and has a new look and modern feel to it. Then we've got some new charting styles that we're going to go through in MetaStock, some new drawing tools, and some new trading systems. So you can see that's a lot. So we have a lot to go through. Let's go ahead and jump right in so you can see why I'm so excited to show you all this. First of all is that theme support. So first of all, you can notice that MetaStock looks a little different than it has in the past. That's because it's all been updated to that new modern feel that we were talking about. And you can see the light mode and the dark mode here. So these are very, very easy to switch between it. We have a quick option right here at the top. You just go to theme and go to MetaStock Dark or MetaStock Light. I'll be using MetaStock Dark today as part of the presentation, but you use whatever preference that you have, which is awesome. And when you do this, it'll just restart the program really quickly. That's why I'm not switching between them to do that. And then you'll have whichever theme that you want. Now, the chart theme is different than the container theme. And we'll get into that a little bit later as we cover some of the other features and what that means and how that affects you. So theme support is awesome. One of my favorites here is this new charting workflow. So the new charting workflow makes it again so you can actually set up your charts like a browser window and make it easy to tab between them. And it also makes it so you can group them more easily and make them and move them around more easily. So it's very, very easy to do all that. So here you can see an example of that in this animation of switching between tabs. And I'll show you all this in just a moment. So let's go over to MetaStock, open up some charts, and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm just going to open up, let's say, some automotive stocks. We'll do GM, Ford, Tesla, and click OK. So you notice I'm not in tab view right here. It just kind of opened them up in a random way. So if I'm just going, the default when you first open MetaStock will be this tabbed view. And you can see I have my three charts open right here. I have Tesla, Ford, GM, and I can just click between them like I would any browser window and switch between them. You'll see it offers me the symbol, the last price, and the daily change, or if it's on a 5-minute, whatever, because I can see what time frame I'm on by seeing the little D. If it was a different time frame, it would just tell me in that window. Now you can switch between them there, Or I can come over here and I can switch between it in this little down arrow. So if I had a lot of charts open, I could click on this. It shows me, again, all that same information that's on the top of the tab, so I can quickly see which ones I want to jump to. With tab charts, you get some new added benefits to it as well. If I want to right-click on one and pin it, and what pinning is moving it to the front so it's a higher priority. So if I click it to the front and pin it, it'll stay right there for me. So I can pin or unpin any of these. Okay. I can also, if I right-click, I can float it. Now you don't have to right-click to float. I can also just grab and drag it out, and you'll notice it becomes a whole new window. It's a whole new window in itself, and I can actually take this and move it over to any monitor that I want to. I'm not stuck in this one area of MetaStock. I can move it wherever I want to. And that's been a big feature request, is to be able to float charts outside of MetaStock. So if you're in this tabbed mode, you're able to move them out and float them around, which is very, very cool. The other thing you may notice when I did this and I pulled it out, I get these little windows across the screen of MetaStock. And what that is it's a way for me to go and dock these charts wherever I would like to. So if I wanted to dock this one over here or over here, let's just dock it right there so you can see what that looks like. So you can see I have Tesla and GM right here, and then I have Ford over here. Now, what this does is it makes it responsive as well. These are locked together, so I can move it around. I can come up here and I can right-click on one of these and I can move it to the other tab group. So if I want that one over there, now I've got it over here, but all the charts within a window are going to be in the little drop down. So you can see if I come over to here to this little drop down, it's in that group. So it makes it easy to see which is in which group as well. Now now you can do that horizontally or vertically. You can also do that same thing that I did by right-clicking on it and saying new vertical tab group or horizontal tab group if you just have one open, and you can see it splits them all out and makes them all very, very responsive. So this new tab view, let's just move this one back. So we have it all back, and then we will move this one to the next tab group. So now they're all part of one. So you can combine them, move them around, set them out. It's really, really awesome the way that this tab view works and lets you navigate your charts. Since I've been using this, I will tell you my workflows have completely changed in MetaStock. I have fallen in love with tab view. It's just such an easier way day to day to move through my charts that I want to look at. Now up here, you'll notice you still have your classic views. You can auto tile, you can cascade, column, stack, tile 1, tile 2. These are new. These are new different ways of tiling, but all these classic views are still available. If you're in a classic view, you can't drag the chart out. You have to be in the tab view to be able to drag it out, because this is the new modern way of doing it. So that's all very awesome. I love the tab views. There's going to be some great training videos outside this presentation showing you how to do these different things. So go check those out as well. So let's go ahead now and move on to our next new feature, which is layout workflows. Now, a layout is basically, again, a group of charts, a group of time frames, a group of whatever it is that you may want. Okay. So what we're going to do is there's a lot over here to describe, but what I want to do is actually go over to MetaStock and kind of walk you through it. I think it's a better way of showing you what's going on with layouts. So this is my main window. So you see this little main over here. That's a little different. And then you see this plus and this down arrow. Now to create a new layout, what I would do is I click this plus sign, or I could come over here and go File, New Layout. I'm just going to click the plus sign. And what it does is it opens up basically another instance of MetaStock. So you can see I have the Power Console. I've got all my tools here. So I've got basically 2 versions of MetaStock running. And I can open up multiple of these. I'm not tied to just one extra one. I've got as many as I want to. And what I can do with this, let's say I wanted to create a list of sector indices, for example. So if I type DIA, SPY, QQQ, and then open chart, it's going to open these charts within this layout. Okay, so they're separated from each other. Now let's just set this up in a view that I want to see. I'm going to do do a new horizontal tab group. And then I will do another horizontal tab group. So I've got these three stacked just like this. Okay, so that's how I'd like to see this pop up. I'm going to come up here and save this now. I'll go File, Save As. And if you've ever created a layout in MetaStock before, there was always a long process of things you had to go through, right? This is very easy. And you just go File, Save As, and call this we'll just call this sector. Click Save, and that's saved. And now I can open this layout anytime, and then it just opens up in its own window. So I've got a quick view of my sector indices. Now, if I come up here and click, you can see I've got my main window. And if I click to that, it'll just switch right back to it. If I click to sector again, it'll switch right back to it. So it makes it very easy to bounce between multiple windows. Now, another cool thing that you can do, just to show you a quick example, is let's say I wanted to do we'll just open up, let's open up a new layout so we can show you something different. So we'll click the plus sign again. This creates a new layout again. And this time I'm going to go DIA. We'll open up DIA. Open chart. And it'll open up that chart here. Now what I want to do this time is I want to make this multi-time frame. So I'm going to go to Window, New Window, and Window, New Window. So I've got three different charts open here. I'm going to make this a new vertical group, and I'll make this one a new vertical group. And now I've got my three charts here. So now I can say, hey, I want this one to be 30-minute and this one to be a 5-minute. So I've got my daily, my 30-minute, and my 5-minute, and I want to save this so I can use it. We'll go Save As. And we'll call this my Dow 3 time frame. Okay, so that's my Dow 3 time frame, so I can open that up as a quick view. The other thing you can do with these layouts that's very, very cool is, hey, I've got my quick view here, but I want to be able to apply that to any other chart. So I can now save this again, File, Save As, and instead of a layout, I can make it a layout template, which means that I can apply it to any chart. So we'll just call this 3 time frames. Okay, easy as that. So it's a lot easier now to save these multiple time frames, these groups of charts that you want to work with, these multiple time frames, however you want to do it. Layouts are so flexible in the way that they work now. Previously, you had to keep everything in MetaStock, and it was hard to move between layouts and do all these things. So this new invention of being able to have these multiple windows that I can take, and I could have my 3 time frames over on one monitor, my other one over on another monitor, or if I'm just on one monitor, it's very easy to switch. Just click, switch, click, switch. Or if I do Alt-Tab on my keyboard, you can see they're all open. I can just tab between those. Or if I come down here, you can see they're all open right there. If I just hover over the MetaStock icon, I can select between them right there as well. Man, layouts are so cool now. They just make it so easy for you to navigate around, get to the information you need. Now, because there's so many different ways to use layouts now, again, I'm going to refer you back to those awesome training videos that are out there, because they'll show you all these different ways that you can use layouts and use them most effectively. So go ahead, check those out. I really wish I had a lot of time in this video to show you more, but I want to keep it to the highlights for you here and then refer you back to the support videos for everything else. So let's go ahead and close all of these, and we'll probably come back to some of these as we go, but that's layouts. So we've gone through our new chart workflows. We've gone through layout workflows. Let's go ahead and move on to our next one. Restore workspace. Okay, so you see I've got MetaStock open on multiple charts there in this animation, and I closed it. And you notice there when I closed it, it didn't ask me to save anything. It just closed right down. So this restore workspace will remember where you were sitting when you closed MetaStock and had everything shut down. So when you do that, it'll just close. When you reopen, you'll see it'll just relaunch everything for you. so you don't have to go back and save everything before you leave MetaStock. It's just going to remember it, bring it all right back. Easy, right? So Restore Workspace is awesome. That's on by default in your MetaStock. You don't have to do anything to set it up. It's just there, ready to go for you, and it'll make your life very, very easy. Okay, now as we go through things here, one of the things that we've really tried to do in MetaStock is bring searching and finding things much more easier. Okay, sometimes it would be difficult to find something, and that's no longer the case. Just about every aspect of MetaStock where you can look for something has a new search functionality built into it. And that's awesome because it'll make your life so much easier. And the first one we're going to talk about here is easier indicator searching. So when you go into that indicator quick list, if we go back to MetaStock, so if I'm in my indicator quick list here and I want to find something, all I have to do is start typing. So if I type in MACD, you'll see what it'll do is in that gray bar there, that's my exact match. So I could just go grab that. But then it also shows me other things that have MACD in it. So then I'm not having to exact match type search. It's got the exact match search and incremental search, which will bring everything together with it. So it's going to make your life way easier in identifying what indicators that you're looking for by just typing them in, and then you can just quick drag drop. So again, now I'm just going to say I want moving average. Okay, there's my moving average. Drag it, drop it, put it on the chart. So much faster, so much easier to get to that information through that new indicator builder search. Make your life really easier. And everything in there is now fully alphabetical. There used to be different sets of lists, and that's no longer the case. It's all alphabetical, much easier to find anything that you're doing. Again, you can see that animation, just kind of quickly search, identify, move on. The new indicator editor. I'm just actually going to go over and show you this. I think it's really cool. If you build indicators, if you ever write indicators, you come up here to the indicator search. We're going to click new. Now, what this will do is it'll actually number each line as you move through. So it makes it easier to identify when you've got a lot of lines where you are in your code. So if I were to type something like move, close, so it'll highlight the syntax there. So you see the close goes blue. And then if we type in 20, and then let's say I do simple, and then I'm done with my code. I just click OK. It's going to give me an error saying, hey, you've got an error, and then it'll tell me which line it's on. So if I had 30 lines of code here and I had an error, what it's going to do is say, your error is on line 1, and then it'll highlight where your error is. So now I go, oh, okay. It says I need an end of function. Okay, hit OK. And then it lets me through. So that syntax, the lines, everything to help you identify where your errors are if you're writing code is awesome because it'll let you just bounce right to it rather than spending time digging through code. Toolbar changes. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with toolbars now. In this animation, you can see that you can actually make toolbars larger. You can make them smaller. You can make the file menu larger or smaller. And where that's kind of a benefit to you is if you're actually using something like a laptop touchpad, if you like to touch on different things, you can make those icons bigger so you can just touch on them if you want to. That's one of the big things with the toolbar changes. You can turn all the toolbars on and off. There's all new icons across the toolbars to help you identify a little more easily what the indicators are, what the toolbar buttons are, what they do. And then anything that you do will bounce across all your layouts as well. So let's go over to MetaStock. Now to do that, you just right click and you go to Customize, and you'll see this options here. So this is where you set to make the icons large or small. So if I do that, you can see now all my icons are large. And if you do them in the menu, well, I can't click on the menu because I'm in a menu. So that'll do that. Let's click off of that. Okay. The other thing you can do is you can turn toolbars on and off. You can see all those disappearing and turning back on. Okay. The other thing that you can do is you can turn buttons on and off. So if you come up here and go to Add Remove Buttons, you can go into any of the toolbars and turn off the buttons. So there's lots of customization that you can do. This whole new container just gives you so much that you can do with it, and being flexible in the way that you want to see MetaStock and the way you want to present it to yourself when you're using it. Okay, so we talked about search and bringing search up and having search be so important as part of the MetaStock workflow. So here we've added the search into the expert advisor. So if I come into right click, go to attach expert, so you can see I have my search. So I can just type in MACD, or I can type in RSI, and it'll take me right where I need to go. Really easy, right? So now I can just click whatever I want to attach, and it'll attach that expert on for you. Okay, so the other thing we've done, if I type in MACD, say maybe this time click attach, over here you also have these buttons. So these options have always been there, but the buttons kind of give you a little bit more idea of what they do and how to do it. So you can create a new expert, edit the expert, copy it, delete it. All those options are at the forefront right there. Okay, so search, so important in MetaStock 19 to bring that forward and have that part of your experience and part of your workflow. Okay, lots of new features that we've covered. Man, I just love this one. This one is just such an awesome update to MetaStock 19 in the way that we've enhanced the expert commentary window. Now, you think, why are you so excited about the commentary window? Well, the commentary window has a lot of the same chart features that you can do, where you can float it or you can dock it. It's available in different ways and different views. So let me kind of show you some of these different views. So we have a chart open here, as we mentioned. And I'm just going to view my expert commentary. There's a couple ways we can do that. We can go view expert commentary, or we can right click expert and view commentary. So we'll do that. Now, when it opens, typically by default, it's sitting here in a floating window by itself, which is what you may be used to in the older versions of MetaStock. But where we can take it from here is what's vastly different. Now, you notice when I grabbed it, I had these options again, like I did with the chart, where I can dock it wherever I want it to. So if I want it there, docked there on the left, I can just put it right there on the left. And then it is tied in with the chart, so I can resize it, make it however big or small that I want, and then it'll just retain that size. The other thing that you can do here that's really, really cool is if I right click on it, I have the option to just pop it out and float it again, just like I was before. Or I have this auto hide feature. And the auto hide is my favorite because I can click on it and you'll see it disappears, but it's still sitting over here for me, ready for me to use whenever I want to. So if I hover over it, you'll see it'll just pop out for me. And if I go off the chart and click, it disappears. Okay. If I hover, it depends on how you do this. If I hover over it, you can see it's just grayed out. And then if I move away, it just disappears. But if I click on it, it will stay there until I'm done with it. And then if I click off, it'll disappear. If I don't want that mode anymore, I can just right click. I can say dock it, and it'll dock right back. Now those features will work wherever you put this on in the container in MetaStock. So I can put it at the top, I can put it at the bottom, on the right. So it's not previous versions of MetaStock. It had a mind of its own a little bit. I'll admit that, where you might just go to the bottom and you couldn't do anything with it. It was hard to resize. It was hard to move. So this brand new window is just so much better for moving it around, putting it wherever you want to. And the other thing that's very cool is if I open up one of my other layouts, let's open up my sector layout. Okay, so I've got the cues here. And if I add expert here and put on just whatever expert, and then expert view commentary. Okay, so if I dock it here, so I've actually got an expert in this layout and an expert in my other window. So if I switch here, if I go to main again, so I've got an expert with a commentary here, an expert with a commentary here, and then you can move them wherever you want to. So it's actually very cool that you can just move them around like that and do have multiple experts and multiple commentaries all going at the same time. So let's just close that out. We'll save our changes so it lives there. So very, very cool stuff with the expert commentary enhancements. You get excited about the expert commentary. I get excited about the expert commentary. So let's go ahead and go on. Now, all that was so cool, we decided to put that in with the data window as well. So the data window can do all that same docking. It can do the same auto hide, whatever you want to do with it. So let's go over and let's pull up the data window. There's our data window. And it went onto my other screen here. Let me pull it over. You can see I have it floating there, but I can bring it over here and I can, let's grab it and dock it here. Okay, so I've got them both docked right now. Now, if I wanted to put this in auto hide, I could put it over there and then it auto hid it for me. Or I can have it over here, wherever you want to put it. So let's just dock this right here. Dock. Okay, so you can have it again wherever you want. Now, we talked about one thing is the chart theme being different than the MetaStock theme. If I come down here and change my chart theme to say contrast, you'll notice the data window will change along with it. So it will always match the chart that you're looking at. If I switch over to GM, I didn't change the chart theme on GM, just on Tesla. It's actually using that chart theme. If I switch back over here, it'll switch back to that. So it's going to use whichever chart theme that you're actually looking at specifically with the data window. Let's change this back to MetaStock Dark just to match it back up. Okay, so the data window, expert commentary, it's all flexible. You can move them around, dock them wherever you want to. Good stuff. That's good stuff. As you kind of do these things, you'll go, wow, this is so much better. This is just so much better. And you can tell I'm excited about it because it is exciting and I love it a lot, all these changes. Now, QuoteCenter and OptionScope. So QuoteCenter and OptionScope, we've enhanced into this new container as well and made a lot of the settings easier to access. We're not going to spend a lot of time here in QuoteCenter and OptionScope except to go over, let's launch it, and let's just launch QuoteCenter. And yeah, let's just open whatever list we have selected here. So you can see it's a lot more modern. It's got the same look and feel as MetaStock. It will use the same theme that you're using either in MetaStock, the MetaStock Dark theme or the MetaStock Light theme will apply to QuoteCenter and OptionScope. But we've added in this new settings bar. So if you want quick settings, you can just click into here to change. If you want the full settings list, you can come in right here and access them. So this is the same in OptionScope where you can just quickly launch it and then access all the settings and then just get right back to your data where we have things like the gainers losers bar, the put call ratio over to OptionScope, all these different things. So they're available for you, very easy to access, much cleaner look and feel than you've had in the past. Okay, so that's a quick look at OptionScope and QuoteCenter. So let's talk about the Power Console update. So the Power Console, this one we're going to go through really quickly. If you noticed in the Power Console, it's all refreshed as well. It'll use the theme of the container as well. But we've added in a lot of new visuals to kind of cue you to where you should go. So you have these arrows to expand and contract data as you go through. All these arrows over here, so you know you can expand and contract information. The templates here, it has the same kind of search that you can do. So if I start typing to something that I want, it'll just go down and highlight to it. You can change that, or you can scroll through alphabetically as always, but that search is a little bit better. All the search functionality is brought to focus. So if we go into Explorer, you can see search functionalities right there. System tester, the search is right there. So all that search, again, is so important and brought forward just to make your life easier. Okay. This one I like too. The cursor will now open to the default to the open instrument box. What that means is when you come in to open up a chart, it defaults right up here. That very first time you open up MetaStock, then you can just type a symbol, click open chart, get right to it. Okay, so lots of little updates in the Power Console to make your life easier. Sometimes it's all the little details that make things better, right? And that's what we've done here with a lot of this. The custom toolbar. So this is a great little tool. If you've never used the custom toolbar, I'll show it to you. I'll show you how it's easier to use now. The custom toolbar is a way for you to quickly apply a template to an open chart. You can open a template, open a layout, whatever you want to from this little toolbar over here. And you'll notice this, it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's got this little icon next to it. So if I click number 1, it opens up that the last chart that I had highlighted was Tesla, so that's what it applied the template to. If I go over here to GM and I click number 2, you'll see it'll apply the template to GM. So whatever you're highlighted on, it'll apply that template to. So if I go to Ford and click number 3, it'll open up that template there. So the custom toolbar is just a quick way to apply whatever it is you want. Now, if you don't like these templates, you can change them. Or you want to add more, you can add more. So let's right click, go to custom toolbar properties. And then what we're going to do is click new. We're going to add a new one. You can select a little icon here. These are all updated and refreshed as well, and some new images as well. So we'll click this little directional thing here. And let's browse for what we want. Now it'll just take me right to the MetaStock folder where all my templates are. And let's just say I want the ETS system as my new one. So I'll select that. And then I can change my little screen tip here to say whatever I want. And then click OK and OK. And you can see I've got my new little icon. Just click it, and it'll launch whatever I want. So the custom toolbar is a very cool little tool. That's been updated to make it easier. There were a lot of steps you had to go through before. And that's a lot of what you're seeing, is making these things more condensed, more precise, easier to do, move on with what you want to do rather than spending time digging through a lot of things. Okay, so custom toolbar. View open window. Okay, so this one is one where you can navigate between a lot of open charts. If I come back here and, well, we've got a lot of open charts now. So what I can do is if I go to Window, View Open Windows, what this does is it brings up this window that lets me tab through or arrow through or use my mouse, whatever I want to do, to see all of my open charts in whichever window I'm doing. And you can see it gives me a little preview of what I'm about to open. So if as I scroll through this, I can choose, let's say I wanted GM here, just hit enter, and it'll switch over to GM for me. Okay, so that's the GM view. Now, if there's another way to get to that, which is Control Tab, and then I can Control Tab through all my open charts, and whichever one I land on or let go on is what it will select. Okay, so it's an easy way to bounce around charts, navigate between a lot of open charts. If you have a lot open and you want to kind of see a preview of it, that Control Tab or Window, View Open Windows is a great way to do it. Sorting in the Explorer. So this is one that is a great user requested feature that we've had. So there's the Explorer has all been updated, the views, it looks all modern and refreshed, but there's some great new functionality in there as well. So I'm just going to go back and show you an example of this. If I go to my Power Console and we go to the Explorer, and I've got an exploration report here. You can see that with the letter R. And if I click report, you can see it's a little bit easier to see where you've sorted. So if I click Surge and rank on that, it's going to say, hey, you've ranked on Surge, and that's the direction that it's set. Okay, so then I can rank on any of these. And if I double click on the first one in this list, well, let's rank it the other way. So I want to see the biggest 5-day surge. So it's this SHC. So if I double click on that chart and open it, and now if I right click on the right arrow, it will go to the next one in that list based off of the way I ranked it. Okay, so rather than just being stuck with it alphabetically, it's going to remember how I sorted that and let me scroll through it. So I'm just leaving this window open so you can see that it matches Planet Fitness. And then if I go to the next one, Ollie's Bargain, if I close this and just go to Ollie's Bargain, it'll just cycle right to it. So that's a great new enhancement that you can sort the way that you want to see it and then scroll through those open charts. So a very cool update in the way that the Explorer works. That was a great user requested feature for you as well. We are moving through these, but there is, like I said, there's so much. So we're diving in through this. I love showing this to you because there's so much cool stuff. Okay, some other features that we're going to kind of just quickly go through. Most recently used. So we talked about a few different ways that you can do most recently used in this little drop-down arrow when you're in tabbed view. But if you're not in tabbed view, you won't have that option. So there's some other ways to get to your most recently used and most recently viewed charts and templates. If I go to right here, if I go to this little arrow next to the open folder and select down through here, these are my most recently used. So if I just select one, it will take me to that most recently used. So that's another way that you can access them. You can also go to File, Recent Files, and then select which one that you want to open. So if I wanted to go to Walmart, it would bounce right to that. So there's a few ways to access that most recently used. And then again, layouts, you always have up here to switch between layouts. So everything kind of has its place, but in these other most recently used, you can access everything. Okay. The custom list editor and the public list editor were both updated with new buttons and new ways to help you move data around. We're not going to go through that here, but there are great training videos, again, things like Unleash the Power of MetaStock that will show you these things so you can move to them quickly. And we talked about those two new chart themes to match the application color. So down here, you can switch between MetaStock dark and light, and these match more the colors of MetaStock as a whole than, say, maybe this black theme. You can see it's different. So I kind of like to use mine in the MetaStock dark when I'm in dark mode and MetaStock light when I'm in the light mode. But that's a personal preference, and you can set it however you like, which is great because that's the way it's designed to be, is very, very customizable for you. Okay, now we're going to talk about some of the new charting features in MetaStock 19. And the first one we're going to talk about here is volume by price. Now, volume by price is a great way for you to be able to see what's happening with changes in volume and how it correlates to volume, changes in price and how it correlates to volume. So we'll take you through that and kind of show you how this can be applied to your trading. So it shows up in a very different way. Now this graphical bar can either be applied on the left or the right, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. But let's talk about what it can be used for and what it's for. Well, first of all, it's used to see buying and selling interest at certain price levels. As you can see, there were different levels in there, and I'll show you an example on the chart. So it shows volume at those specific price levels, and then it shows negative and positive volume at those price levels, and then that volume is calculated on the close to close of the chart. So let's go ahead and show you how to apply this. So if I come up here again and I just click in and go volume and look for volume by price, and let's drag this onto the chart. Now what it's going to do first of all is give you an option for how many zones you want. So the zones are each bar that you saw on there. So we have our zones, and then we can say how much data that we want. We can look at all data, or we can look at a certain period. Let's just look at the last 2 years of data here, and we'll use 12 price zones. Okay, you can also change your colors and your styles of this if you want to. Let's apply it. Okay, so these are my price zones with a volume by price in those zones. Okay, so you'll see here, the green is positive volume. The red is negative volume during that time. Okay, so if I hover over it again, you can see that. And then if I hover over it, you'll see this little pop-up window come in. This pop-up window will show you how many zones you have, what the price range in that area is, and then what your positive and your negative volume is, and then your total volume in that price range. Okay, so this is all about price range and what your positive and negative volume is doing in that price range. Okay, so if I come over here again, what are we looking at? Well, what we're looking at is we're looking at areas where we're trying to see the highest volume by price or the lowest volume by price. Well, why would I want to see the highest volume by price zone? What good does that do me? Well, what this does is it helps us know where a lot of the volume comes in And during that time, if it's positive or if it's more positive or more negative. Because if you have a price zone that's more positive, well, then what you're getting is you're getting an area that maybe more buying pressure is going on rather than more negative pressure. So if you're trading, you can use this as a confirmation. You can use it as a return to the mean type of scenario. And there's a few other options we'll go through here in just a second. So here's our options. So you can use this with other indicators as a confirmation, use it as a target for price based off of the zone level, so the return to the mean, use as a standalone to see where the most volume is, add more or less zone levels based off your preference, so we can do that, and use specified look-back periods. So what we're seeing here, so let's go back, and let's drag it over here. Let's talk about a practical example here. So over the last 500 bars, where we're seeing most of our buying is right here at this price level. And if I hover over it, you can see the price zone here is 50.43 to 52.27. And we have a total of 1.933 billion in volume. Well, our positive volume is 860 million and our negative volume is 1.072. So our negative is higher than our positive. So we have more negative pressure here than we do positive. Okay, and we can look at each one of these and kind of see what the positive and negative pressure is. So if we're looking at this, we could say, hey, if I have a lot of buying and selling pressure here, oftentimes we'll have more of a reversion to the mean, or we may have a breakout from it. So there's a lot of different ways to look at it. This has been a huge request from a lot of people as well, as to be able to see volume by price right on their chart. We've listened, added that in for you. So now you have volume by price, and you can go through and you can sort based off, look at this right on your chart. Okay, next one is actually two different ones in one. Okay? So you can now do range bars or range candles. Well, what's the difference between a regular candle or a regular bar and a range bar or a candle? So when we're looking at a regular price chart, let's delete this off so we can focus on the bars here. So if I zoom in, we're looking at a daily chart. So each bar or candle represents one day. And that's typically what we're used to when we're looking at a chart. When we talk about range bars or range candles, we're actually talking about throwing out time, basically. So we're throwing out time and we're just looking at movement of this security. So if I come in here, I double click, that's the best way to get to it. And then I go down to, let's look at a range bar. You can do the same with candles. Okay. And then I come over here to parameters. You've got two different options for how you want to set your range bars up here. You can use average true range. So that's the average true range over 14 periods. Well, that's the average move per day that you're getting. Or you can do specific points. So let's look at both really quick, just to show you some examples. So if I click OK, apply, you can see my chart here looks very different than it did before. Okay, my dates down here are all scrunched up because what range bars do is they're looking at the range of it. So if I come down here and I hover over it, the range, as you can see at the very bottom of this tooltip, is 0.729732. Okay, so for every 0.729732 the bar moves, it creates a new range bar. So it has to move that far before it'll make a new bar. So if you're looking for price moves, range bars are a great way to do that. Let's actually change this to, say, 2 points instead. So you can see that looks very different because what we're looking for is each bar has to move 2 points. So some days you might not get a new bar if it only moves 50 cents. It's going to wait till it moves a whole 2 points before it paints a new bar. Okay. The other way that you can look at this is, well, let's go back over here and we'll show you this. So let's kind of go through some of this. So every range bar is the same height. We've talked about the units not mattering, if that's a word. So a slow market could take several days to complete a range bar. range bars only use the close of the underlying data, and this is what I wanted to focus on for a moment. The range bars will expand up or down with price action. When the height equals the specified range, the current bar will close at the high or low, depending on the direction of the move. A new range bar opens with the value of the underlying close that triggered the change. Okay, so you're going to see these candles paint in this way. So there are a lot of traders that trade based off of range only. So if you're one of those traders and you'd like to use range bars, this is for you. This has been a long requested thing that we've had as well, to add in range bars and candles, and your wish has been granted. So those are added into MetaStock. So here's again an example of, this is the same chart, but looking at different ranges, 8.13 versus 5. So it'll show those ranges and those range bars. Okay. Now this has been a big one that has been requested over the years as well. So this is the global cursor. Now, to give you a good example of the global cursor, let's maybe go to our Dow 3 time frame here. Okay, so we've got our 3 time frames. Now the global cursor is this over here. So if I click on the crosshairs, and you'll see as I move my cursor across the screen here, it is moving across 3 different charts. So as I move this, it's basically locking across all 3 charts what I'm seeing. So I can move through and see exactly where those bars relate to the other bar in the other chart. So it's a very easy way. And you can see as I just jump around, it'll track wherever I am. I'm on the last chart right now is my main one, and it will just follow and follow through. Okay, so this has been a big request. You can see, well, let's go back to the PowerPoint. So this goes across multiple time frames. If you have multiple charts open in different, say you had 30 charts open and you were doing the global cursor, it would move across all of them. It will go across all open layouts. So every layout that you have open, it'll track through all of them. And you can toggle that on and off if you want to. So it's a feature that lets you track it on and off. Okay, so there's, again, an animation of it kind of showing you how it's moving across different charts and different time frames as you have them. Now, you may have picked up on this as we've gone through the presentation. So we have Tesla embedded here in the chart. So now you can actually add this watermark right to your chart. To do that, I go up here to Tools, Options, and then I go to Chart Options and Display Watermark. Here's where you would turn off that global cursor as well. Right here, Display Watermark, click OK, and you'll see that I have DIA, Spider Dow Jones Industrial Average. So it'll show me the symbol and then the name right on your chart. So and as you move around, it'll always just stay right there, embedded as a watermark right in your chart. Now, this is a feature you can turn on or off. You don't have to have this on all the time. But what's great is as you change and move around into different chart colors, you'll see this will adapt automatically to the chart color and give you a watermark based off of that. So, really easy thing. This is another one of those things, and I'm like, how did I live without this once it was added in? So we're really excited that this is part of your MetaStock now. This has been a big requested thing as well. So some other chart features. This one at the top is probably the only one I'll show you, then we'll just talk about the other ones, but it's Learn as you plot. And what Learn as you plot is, let's go back to our main window here. And let's switch this back. Let's turn off global cursor. We got a lot going on. We're going to switch this back to candles or bars. And you could do this with range bars too if you wanted. But Learn as you plot is basically a way to go back in the past. Just scroll back here. And I love this scroll that was added in 18. But what I can do now is just hold down Control Arrow. And if I hold down my Control and just arrow, I can move one bar at a time. So if you want to kind of practice how you would interpret an indicator, what you would do at that time, this is a great way to do it. So just plot some indicators, put on your expert, and just kind of move through a chart and go, okay, what would I do here? What would I do here? What would be my play here? So it's a learn as you plot type of scenario. You can also move backwards by using the other arrow. So you can move back and forth. great little enhancement there to be able to learn as you plot and move through. Other things, greater precision in the odds probability cone. We had requests for transparency will remain set when you toggle between colors. So if you like to mess with the transparency and changing colors, that'll stick. You can put the left and right axis on a chart now. You can change the font and the font size and the axes on the chart. And the text editor has been improved as well, so it's a little bit more responsive, makes it easier to edit the text that you want to put on chart and put on your notes. Again, we don't have time to go through every little feature. We'd be here forever. So I'm just highlighting these top ones for you. And this is another great one, the new drawing tools. So the first one we're going to talk about is a measure tool for percent change and a measure tool for points change. Well, you may say, hey, Kelly, wait a minute. You put that in MetaStock 18 with the trend line. And we did put that in MetaStock 18 with the trend line. You could take this and draw a trend line. And then you could go through and you could right click on it. You go to the properties, and then you could say, hey, well, I want to see performance with it or whatever you want it to do. That was a bit cumbersome. We had a lot of people say, hey, I love the measure tool, but I just want it to be more evident. Okay, so let's close out some of these other charts here. And let's look at the measure tools here. Okay, so over here, you can see we've added in these new tools right here. So you have the measure tool percent and the measure tool points. So if I just grab this and then just go right to it, it'll just go to right to points for me. I can still double click and show the number of bars, change the text and all that, but this one is just set to measure points. It's not going to do anything else. So you can see that popped up right there. You also have the option for percent. So if I do the same thing, there's my percentage. It's a 0.13% move. So you can quickly just drag and drop and get that. Thanks to the user feedback, we added that in and put them right up front for you to make it easier. We also added in another set of drawing tools. We added in the XABCD, head and shoulders pattern, and then some Elliott wave drawing tools for you as well. Let's just show you really quickly. I'm not sure if I have a head and shoulders pattern on this chart to identify for you. So we'll just bring it up here and we'll just draw an example of it. So I can take this and I can draw. Oh, I clicked on the triangle, not the head and shoulders. So we'll do the head and shoulders. And you'll see it'll label it for me as I draw my pattern. And then I can move it around and put it wherever I wanted to if I was looking for a head and shoulders. And that's a pretty big head, so we can grab that and adjust it. It's all responsive. I doubt we'd see a head like that, so we'll maybe kind of do something like that. So then you could kind of use it as a pattern search tool across your chart or just highlight something on your chart. You could also change the colors, the transparency, all that within this. It's all customizable. We'll take that off. There's the Elliott wave tools. So I'm just going to do an ABC tool here, and let's see if I can see a quick ABC. I don't. So I'm going to draw this wrong. Everybody don't. Well, okay. We've got an A, got a B, and we'll just call this our C. I know that's wrong. It's just showing you an example. Okay. So one of the things I know is important with Elliott waves are there's different types of Elliott waves. There's different counts that you can do. If I go into this, I can go into my text and I can say, okay, I want this to be a parenthesis, a circle, or a label only. And if I apply, it will change that. So that way, if you're measuring the different types of waves, you can set which one they're supposed to be right in the text properties of the program. You can also set it to snap. So if you want it to snap on price, or if you want it to snap on period, or you just want to freehand it, and then click save on that. So just save all the pages as default. Okay, so now if I were to go back and redraw that, I could draw it anywhere on the chart and it wouldn't snap to price. It wouldn't matter. So again, if I'm drawing a wave, boom. So there's my wave. And again, I can take that, move it wherever I want to with it, adjust it with these waypoints. It's all very customizable. So these are cool little new drawing tools that we've added in for the Elliott wave enthusiasts, head and shoulders pattern, the Gartley XABCD. That's all available to you as well. So here's the whole list of all the different patterns that are available to you. Okay, so now we're going to talk about some of the systems that are included in MetaStock as well. The first one we're going to talk about is an updated RMO. Now, the updated RMO, first of all, RMO is one of the most popular systems in MetaStock. It's very highly used. And there's always been a few little things with it. Like when you're looking for explorations, if you typed in RMO in the search, one of the searches was named swing trade, so it wouldn't always come up. So we worked with Rahul and said, hey, let's make this a little simpler for people to find. So we improved the naming of the explorations. They now all start with RMO. The column names are all, so you've got the primary trend, medium trend, labels them all. And then in the exploration results, the column names are all labeled now, and you've got close and volume included in there. And then we've also added in exploration tooltips for all the explorations. So if I come back in here and I search RMO, you'll see these all grouped together. And if I highlight over them, you get a whole definition for it now, so you can just quickly move between it and see them. Pretty easy, okay? Now, other things that we've done with the RMO is we've put in 5 new templates. So these 5 new templates are different ways of looking at the RMO to kind of help you understand different ways of looking at it. And there's some very, very cool things that Rahul has done with these templates to quickly help you quickly get to signals. Now, we're not going to go through a full RMO demo here. Again, go to Unleash the Power of MetaStock, go to these different places to watch these, and it'll help you quite a bit. So let's talk about the templates. So the first one we added was an RMO model shaded. Now what that one is it's the same RMO template that you're used to, but it's been modernized with all the new chart features that were available in MetaStock 18 to give you kind of that view of shaded view and not so binary. So we like this a lot. It's a lot cleaner to look at. The classic one is still in there. If you love the classic one, keep on using it. We've added in the shaded one as well. The next one is this bull pulse. So this is just helping you identify quickly bullish trading opportunities by quickly looking at these binary bars. So up here at the top, you have the buy arrow. So when you get this little pulse, you have a buy arrow. When you have this pulse of a blue bar, that means your bars have turned blue. And when you get this pulse, it means your RMO is above 0. So if I get RMO above 0, blue bar, blue arrow, that's an indication to buy, and that would all align right there. Okay, very simple, easy way to interpret the RMO. You also have that on the bullish side, on the bearish side, excuse me. So we have the RMO bear pulse. So we have the red arrow, the red bar, RMO below 0, just kind of matching up all down here. And when you have all of those combined, that's a sell signal. Okay, of course you want to wait for the buy above the high or the sell below the low, but these all trigger and show you the triggers right there in an easy to read manner. The bull and bear pulse will actually combine all that together. So up here we have our bullish, down here we have our bearish, and you can just quickly look across for either signal. Now, just to make that all easier, Rahul actually put together what he calls his pro mode. So the pro mode is actually both bullish and bearish on the one screen, but you can see it's simplified. We'll just say it that way. So here we have our arrow pulse. So this is our arrow. And then when the RMO is above 0 and you have blue bars, this will pulse right here. So when we have these two come together, that's an indicator to buy. Okay. So going along here, this would be an add-on because it's in the middle of a pulse. Over here, we have our bearish spike and then our bearish pulse. That's an indication to sell. So the pro mode is very, very easy to identify and identify those opportunities very, very quickly. So to learn more about the RMO, watch the videos in the Unleash the Power of MetaStock, which we'll talk about a little bit later as something that you get as part of your purchase in MetaStock. There's a great video overviewing the RMO and what it does and how it works. Now, as we go through these systems and strategies, there's going to be different things that appeal to different people. And every day we talk to traders and traders tell us, hey, this would make my life a lot better or a lot easier. Or we'll hear a presenter in one of our great conferences talk about something and we're like, hey, we could add that to MetaStock very, very easily. So a lot of this comes from talking to you as traders and us as traders going, hey, this would make our life a little better. And this one's just another example of that. This is a gap identification system, just ability to quickly scan for gaps and have a gap expert to highlight gaps on your chart. So you can see over here, this is a gap result scan, a gap down, gap up with volume, or gap down with volume confirmation. And then we've got a checklist over here in our gap identifier to let you know if there are the different gaps, walk you through what a gap is and highlight them on the chart. Okay, so that's an expert advisor, a scan that you can just quickly pull in and identify. Okay, so now we're going to talk about two different add-ons that we've added into MetaStock 19. The first one is ETS. So ETS is an add-on that we've typically sold for $299 over the years. It's been an awesome seller. People really like this system because it's very, very simple and easy to use. Now, when we talk about it, what it's doing is it's got two main indicators in it that it uses. It uses what's called the trend watch, and then it's got the ETS moving average. Okay, so if I go in and we look at a chart, this is what ETS 2.1 looks like inside of MetaStock 19. Okay, and this is an example of a scan. It has a scan built in with it, identifying an opportunity. But let's talk about how all this is constructed. So the first of all is trend watch. And the trend watch is really based off of the moving average. So the moving average here that you see on your chart, this blue moving average, is the ETS moving average. And what the trend watch does, this indicator down here that goes above zero and below zero, and basically telling you if it's bullish or bearish, is doing is this moving average is the trend watch is measuring the angles and the direction of the moving average to determine the trend. So it's not just saying, hey, is it above zero, below? Is the moving average above the price? Is it below the price? What it's doing is it's actually looking at the angle of the moving average, the trend line of the moving average, and it's helping identify what's happening with it to tell you whether it's bullish or bearish. Okay, so it's putting in a lot of analysis underneath this moving average and saying, okay, well, the angle of it is really steep, so my trend watch needs to move. So it can be very, very responsive in the way that it presents the information to you. And you can see it's very easy to read. We've got the moving average, we've got the trend watch, and then it will just combine to give you buys and sells right on your chart. So it's an easy to use system. And I love this statement right here. The trend is your friend as long as you know what it is. And that's what's great about Trend Watch. It's really going to help you know what the trend is of the security that you're looking at. Okay, so here again, this is the Trend Watch telling you either binary, or you can see the kind of the growth of it as it indicates the strength of the trend or the weakness of the trend to help you identify it. Okay, this is the moving average that it's calculating the trend direction and the angle of the trend to help you understand the direction of the trend. Now, another thing I love about this system and why a lot of people have really liked it over the years is when it gives you a signal. It's just not saying, hey, enter the trade. It's saying, hey, you're entering long, and what you need to do when you get into this trade is you need to set your protective stop, you need to set your profit targets, and you've got an extended profit target. So if we come up, we hit this profit target, great. You've got an extended profit target if it blows past it and starts to move up. Okay, so it's a great system for helping you follow a trade rather than just pushing you in the direction of a trade. Okay, I really like the ETS. It's a great system. It's got system tests included with it, so you can system test all against groups of stocks, and it typically will perform very, very well in system tests. So you can use it as you want to. It's included inside of MetaStock 19. This $300 add-on is free with your purchase of MetaStock 19 because it's built right in. And the other thing that we've done as far as systems go is we've included the Ichimoku Master. The Ichimoku Master is a system that's designed around the Ichimoku indicator that's built into MetaStock. Now, there's a lot to Ichimoku, and if you like the Ichimoku, you're going to love this part of MetaStock 19 because this will do the Ichimoku analysis for you. If you're not familiar with it, it is a great way to learn about the Ichimoku because it'll tell you what all these different indicators mean and whether they're bullish or bearish and what's happening with them. We're just going to quickly kind of give you an overview of some of the indicators talk about what's included in the system and why it can be beneficial to you. The Ichimoku Sanjin, What a Man in the Mountain Sees, was developed by this fine gentleman right here. And it gives you these different indicators. You've got the Tenkan Sen, the Kijin Sen, the Senku span, also known as the Kumu cloud, and then the span B, the Chiku span, and the close. Now, as you look at all these different indicators, there's a lot of different interpretation that you can go with them, but it's very basic as well, okay? So this kind of shows you some of the formulas through it. Now, we're not going to, again, spend a lot of time. We're going to put together some training videos that'll show you how to use these different indicators and how to use the Ichimoku system in MetaStock 19. Here, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of some of the indicators and then show you how the system works inside of MetaStock. Okay, so we've got the Tenkan Sen, which are these pink and red lines. The Tenkan Sen is this line, and then the Kijin Sen, and you can see the formulas for how these are calculated. Okay, so basically, when the Tenkan Sen is above the Kijin Sen, it's bullish. When the Tenkan Sen is below the Kijin Sen, it's bearish, and crosses indicate an opportunity to buy or sell. So when this one is above, it's bullish. When it's below, it's bearish. We don't really have a good example of that here. And when it crosses is a good indication to buy. Now, this is where the Ichimoku Master can help you because it's going to highlight these on your chart for you, these types of opportunities. Okay, so another example is you can trade based off of the Kumu cloud. Okay, when this reverts, you get these crossings, you get a bullish indication. Okay, so this is, again, the calculation. Here's the Kumu cloud between the two, showing you the price movement. Now, again, there's a lot that we could spend time in learning, but each of these has so much to it. We want to put them all into their individual training videos so you can really dive into them. So there's a lot of different things here that, as you can see, interpretation within the Ichimoku Master and what you're actually getting out of it. So here's another example of ways that you could trade the Ichimoku Master. But what I really like out of this is the expert system that ties it all together, because it will checklist it for me so I don't have to really dive in and look at each of these different indicators. It just does it all for me. So you can see here, I've got the Ichimoku Master on NVIDIA here. And what it does, it tells me all the indicator values, and then it tells me what state they're in. Well, these are all bullish. We had a strong TK cross that occurred 59 bars ago. We had a Kumo twist that occurred 57 periods ago. And then if you were to scroll down through this, it would define all of those for you and tell you what each of these mean. So it's actually a really great way to learn about the Ichimoku, whether you're familiar with it, to confirm, or to learn about it. Now, this is a system that was worth $499, and we've included it inside of MetaStock 19, absolutely free as well. So both of these systems are included and part of your MetaStock that you're going to have using. Okay, so this is everything that comes with the Ichimoku Master that we've included inside MetaStock 19. Just a huge update to it. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about is this new free template from Jake Bernstein. So this is called the JBXC, which is the Jake Bernstein expansion and contraction. So let's just show you a little bit what's on this template. So at the top here, we have what's called the MAC channel. And the MAC channel is one of Jake's favorite things that he looks at. It's a 10-period SMA of the high, simple moving average of the high. Now, that's different than most moving averages because we're doing the moving average of the high rather than the close. And then an 8-period SMA, simple moving average of the low. So this is what he calls his MAC channel. Second down here, we have the Williams accumulation distribution indicator, which is the green line. And then we have the moving average of the Williams accumulation distribution. That's a lot to say. Okay, so that's what the second indicator is. And then down here is an expansion and contraction indicator. So we have contraction and expansion. And what this will do is it compares, basically what it's doing is looking at the two price points, the high and the low, up or down through the two moving average set channels. Okay, so that MAC channel at the top. Since it counts every period, it's not considered a lagging indicator. And then a second indicator compares the two price points between the high and the low, up or down, through the longer look-back moving average channel settings. This ratio produces a condition where 2 standard deviations equals approximately 1 standard deviation move up. So what does that mean? So we get these expansion contraction areas. So you can see where it's green, we're typically bullish. If we're red, we're typically bearish. So that gives us a good indication of what period of trading we're in, or whether we're bullish or we're bearish. So this is a great confirming indicator with something else or a standalone trading system. Now what's great is Jake actually put together a full add-on that will give you buy and sell alerts on this, scanning around this, and also system testing around this. So I encourage you to check out the follow-up video on the expansion contraction add-on. It's a great addition to what you can get built into MetaStock. You get this free, this template, and then he's got the additional add-on that you can get that gives you all the additional guidance with the expert commentary and the scanning and the system testing. So let's talk about what we've covered. So we have talked about, in MetaStock 19, we've talked about these new and improved charting workflows, which are awesome. Those tab charts, everything that you can do with those tab charts, I absolutely love it. It makes such a difference in my MetaStock day-to-day. So I'm sure you're going to love it too. The layout workflows that give you the views and letting you being able to move around between different views very quickly, apply multi-time frame templates, all these different things. It's so awesome what you can do with these 2 different workflows. As you go through them, you're going to go, how did I ever live without this? This makes MetaStock so much better, which is what we want from you to be able to have is a better MetaStock experience in MetaStock 19. We added in that theme support. Everything just has that new modern look and feel. You've got those 2 new, the charting style updates, the volume by price, which isn't a charting style, but it's a way of looking at price. Then you've got the range bars, you've got the new drawing tools and the new trading systems that we just covered, all the RMO updates, the ETS 2.1, the gap identification, the Ichimoku Master, the Jake Bernstein template. What a great set of systems that we've included here as well. This, again, is such a huge update. We've added so much in here for you. This one is one that you're just absolutely going to love, top to bottom. Now, to help you learn everything, when you get MetaStock 19, we're going to get you Unleash the Power of MetaStock. And Unleash the Power of MetaStock is an additional manual that's all about workflows and how you can actually use MetaStock 19 workflows. So we're going to go through starting with MetaStock, a power tool overview, how to backtest, scan and backtest, more on backtesting, forecasting, chart patterns, understanding the RMO, working with local data. All these things are designed to help you get the most out of MetaStock. So I really encourage you, once you get MetaStock 19, get it installed, go through this manual, go through the videos that come with it. They're going to help you so much. Now, what I'd invite you to do after you've seen all these awesome new features is give us a call at 800-882-3040, 801-506-0900 if you're international. Chat with us, metastock.com/sales-chat, metastock.com, or sales@metastock.com as an email address. We are excited to get you set up with MetaStock 19. It is such a robust update. You are just going to love it, top to bottom, as I've said. Every aspect of it has been refined. Give us a call. You're going to love it. The thing I would like to close with is I just wish you successful trading and all the best luck in trading, and keep on trading. Thanks, everyone.